Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our third session of mental health in the Black community. My name is Sarah Taylor, and I'm Deputy Executive Director for Partners in Community Development, serving across the region in this space. But I welcome you to this space today, a very critical, important space. And I want to move out of the way. I want to move out of the way quickly and allow for our youth. This is centering youth. This is all about centering youth space today. So I say thank you to each and every one of you that are here. I'm excited about our keynote. I'm excited about our panel. I'm excited about this third series. But this is our fourth annual series. We dared, yes, about 4 years ago, we dared as an organization, as a parent-led organization, to step up and say, we needed to have this critical space to talk about mental health in the Black community. I want to give some thank yous and a few disclaimers before we get started. Nothing that we will share today is to be received as clinical information. This is not clinical. This is not medical. This is educational. This is an educational session. We will share resources. We will share information in this space, but this is not clinical. We ask that you do not put information or links in the chat. We have a slideshow with resources, particularly sponsor resources, who I would acknowledge. So we ask that you do not put anything in the chat, any links. We want this to be safe, brave space for all. We are going to have some announcements today, but I wanted to just quickly acknowledge our sponsors. We are able to offer this series for free because of the amazing sponsors that we have. I want to say thank you for Univera Health in Western New York, Sankofa Counseling, Hillside Family Agencies, Buffalo Perinatal Network, Starbridge, Health Education Project, Monroe County Office of Mental Health, Buffalo Federation of Neighborhood Centers, Common Ground Health, CCSI, and our funding partners, Wilson Foundation, Greater Rochester Health Foundation, and the New York State Office of Mental Health through our RECAST project in Western New York. We say thank you to all of our sponsors that without them, we would not be able to do this for free. So we say thank you to our funding partners who believed in us, who have still taken a stand for racial equity that says inclusion and equity matters. We say thank you to our sponsors. I also want to acknowledge Partners in Community Development staff that are with us. We have staff that are with us and not with us who do the work every day on the ground, boots on the ground, grassroots efforts to reach our targeted populations, to amplify the voices of diverse communities, particularly in Buffalo as well as Rochester. We say thank you to our staff. I also want to acknowledge the speakers today, the youth voices that you're going to hear when I move out of the way. I particularly want to recognize Angela Cologne Retness and Mona Mitchum, who you are going to hear from today, that are going to lead our panelists. I also want to acknowledge Mimi Phillips from Families Together in Western New York, who is a long-standing partner, and Mimi has been a strong partner with us representing Families Together workforce development that continues to work hip and hip with us as we work to make sure that the peer workforce is inclusive and that we are amplifying, not just amplifying, but walking the youth and families from diverse backgrounds, particularly in this region, through the credentialing process. So I want to say thank you to Carrie Ann and her team that continues to work with us and help us navigate the workforce development career pathways process. So, again, I say thank you to everyone. Again, we want to hear from our youth today, centering youth voice. I also want to acknowledge, I see in the audience Tierra Springer Love. I say thank you, Tierra, for all you've done over the years around youth voice, regardless of where you are or have not been. But the authenticity that you brought to this space, Tierra, we say thank you because you helped us along the way. We would not be where we are without listening to you when you were a statewide youth leader, speaking to us, encouraging us not just to be performative in this space, but to be authentic and center youth voice. This is Youth Voice Day, so I'm going to move out of the way and I'm going to bring up not a stranger to anyone, a leader, not just a commissioner, the youngest commissioner in the city of Rochester for the city school district. I know one day he is going to be the president of the United States, if not the governor of New York State. But Isaiah Santiago is doing amazing work across the state, and I wanted to give him a few minutes to share the work he's doing. And for all of you, I hope will join us on March 30th. Youth, you're out there, you're on this call. We need you to get on the bus in Rochester, in Buffalo, wherever you are. We need to see you in Albany. We can give you the material that you need for school, but we'll give more information a little later. We'll be sharing that information and slide today. We need our voice. And I'm going to turn it over to Isaiah. He's a dear colleague of mine. I listen to him. He partners with me, our organization, not just me, on so many different levels. And I wanted to make sure that we gave him space today to give some remarks. Thank you, Isaiah, for joining us.
Yes. Hello, everybody. Happy Black History Month, and thank you to Sarah Taylor and this organization for hosting this event and also centering youth voice. And I wanted to and have an opportunity today to jump on, of course, and share some work that I'm currently doing around youth voice and centering youth voice, not just in our communities, but in our legislation, in our programs, in our systems. Anything that's affecting young people should have young people's voice at the table for every decision, for every program development, for everything that's included inside of services for young people. Young people's voices should be at the forefront of the conversations. And so one of the things that I'm currently doing, I am also employed by Families Together, which my colleague is Mimi Phillips, who is amazing and awesome. And I also want to give a shout out to Tierra, who I look at as one of the people I look up to, who has been an advocate in this work and continues to be an advocate in this work systematically. But through Families Together, I'm hired as a youth leadership manager, and we currently have a youth leadership council that is forming. We have a couple more spots open. And so we're looking for young people to put on this diverse group of young leaders that will be involved in sitting at tables for systems change, legislative change, for service change. And it's an opportunity for these young people to come together statewide, emerging young leaders to come together and to really make a change in New York State and to be part of making a change in New York State. And so that council is still open. We're still looking for young people. We have a couple spots left. So if anybody has young people that they think would be amazing for this youth leadership council that we're creating, please email me at I Santiago at FT ftnys.org. There we go. I'm a new hire, so I'm still learning my email. And I lastly want to give a shout out to Sarah Taylor in Rochester. I on the school board where I sit as the youngest member. I proposed the creation of a mental health committee to look at our current policies, to look at our services, and to look how our district is looking at the issue of mental health. And Sarah Taylor was nominated onto that committee, and she was not only nominated, but she was one of the leads of the committee. And that work also was centered around Young Voice, where youth were able to give influence. They gave us a packaged agenda on things that we have to change in Rochester to make our school district more conducive to our young people and supporting their mental health. And I am currently working on the school board to get all of those things implemented and changed in our system. And so, as we center Young Voice across the state, I'm excited to be a young leader, 21 years old, not just leading, but also finding ways to center youth voice in the decisions that we make and the policy decisions and the legislative decisions and all around New York State. Thank you guys. Thank you to the organization. Thank you for the invite.
Thank you so much, Isaiah. I am so proud of you because when we talk about people talking, um, people talk the walk, talk it. But you have from the beginning, when you were in junior high, middle school, you have turned talk into action, to legislation, to policies. So I applaud you. You got my vote. This is not political. I want to make that clear. But anytime we can amplify you, your work, because you have proven uncompromisably and authentically that you are here to center youth voice, and particularly amplifying Black and Brown voice without compromise. I say thank you. Thank you for being a role model to leverage your power and influence. We say thank you. Thank you so much. We will get Isaiah's information in the chat for everyone. Those that want Isaiah's information, his email that he mentioned at Families Together, we will get that out to you. I also, since we're talking about youth voice, I want to bring to your attention, and it'll go back up on a slide, and we will have it on our website. We have focus groups coming up. We have focus groups coming up next week. We have focus groups coming up next week for youth and families. If you are in our targeted counties and you have not participated in the focus group in the past few months, these are for individuals that have not participated. If you have not participated in the focus group, we have family caregiver focus groups on Wednesday, and then on Thursday, Tuesday, family focus groups, caregivers, and on Wednesday, youth. We will make sure we have that information up again in between the keynote and the panel, okay? We will open it up for questions if we have time. We will open it up for questions. The question and answer tool are for questions and answers. And typically, when the keynote is up, we will turn the chat off unless the keynote asks us to do else. So again, we want to have this space for brave and safe space, okay? We will open up the question and answer tool. We will email follow-up information to everyone that signed in. Because you registered, we do have your information. I am excited and ready to bring our keynote up. I want to bring our keynote to the stage today. We are so excited to have Dennis with us. Dennis could have said no, but he did not say no when I asked. And I just want to be just authentic and transparent in this space. When we set out to have youth cohorts in Western New York as our first pilot out about a year and a half ago, we learned a lot. We learned a lot. We learned a lot. And Dennis's experience, along with a number of youth's experience from a system and a program perspective, we learned a lot about system barriers, about who qualify and who does not qualify. But you know what? This young man did not not take no. And I tell you, we are exceptionally proud to have Dennis in this space with us today as our keynote. As everything we do at the BIPOC Peak Parent Project, we are intentional. We are intentional with our speakers. We are intentional in this space. So we will hear from Dennis, and then we're going to hear from youth that were a part of our cohort model to hear from them themselves. So I'm excited to have our keynote today, who is a student at one of our state universities in Western New York. Dennis Bobbitt, if I got it correct, Jr., is a social work major, emerging mental health professional with leadership, youth advocacy, peer support experience. He is a Dean's List scholar, resident assistant, nationally ranked student athlete. You got to follow him on social media and not just follow Dennis, but his mother, Kelly Dumas of Dumas Rise Providers, committed to mental health, wellness, equity, and service in BIPOC communities. Dennis is a mentor. He is so much more. He is skilled at mentoring peers and co leading youth workshops with clinicians. He's not intimidated of power dynamics, but he knows what he brings to the table. And we are so excited to have him as keynote today. Dennis, we're turning it over to you. And thank you so much for saying yes and inspiring us today. It is all yours.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Miss Sarah. That was a good speech. I just wanted to say I'm very grateful for the opportunity to be here and speak in front of everybody and all their beautiful faces today. Um, I'm grateful, but I'm nervous. I'm a little nervous. This is honestly the first time I've ever spoken in front of a big crowd like this, and I'm nervous, but I'm ready. So nice to meet you, everybody. I'm Dennis. I'm Dennis Bobbitt. I'm 19 years old. I go to college at SUNY Brockport. As you know, I run track. I am currently seventh and eighth in the nation for long and triple jump. I'm seventh and eighth in the nation. I broke the school's record for triple jump. I am second all time for long jump. Um, I'm trying to think what else. I'm a RA, so which means a RA, if you guys don't know, is when people have their own problems, they come to me about their problems. And that means I have to deal with my own problems on top of their problems. And I'm just having a lot to do at once most of the time. So I'm like the first line of defense. I live with the residents. This is my dorm, as you can see. This is my dorm right now, my little dorm. But as you can see, like people, they come to me all the time for their problems. And we have to learn how to deal with everything at once and then be healthy with it. So we're going to talk about mental health and resilience. I also work with my mom with Dumas Rights Providers. I go to school. I'm 19 years old, so I'm only a sophomore doing everything at once. And I'm just moving, you know. That's why we're going to talk about resilience because I'm going to talk about like what helped me during my time because I've went through a lot. I went through a lot. I'm a person of faith, so you might hear like God come up some of the times during this because he is my foundation. He's what helped me get through a lot of my problems personally. I'm not up here to preach for you guys, but he's just something that I leaned on when times got hard for me. I personally did not receive traditional counseling. I do not know why. I got when I was younger, I just honestly I didn't go through a lot of stuff. I didn't go through I had it a little easy when I was younger. And that's why times are starting to get hard now. But luckily I found God when times got hard. So no, I did not receive traditional counseling. Maybe it's something I should think about now, honestly. But I'm just gonna be 100% honest about what helped me, and I'm gonna try to encourage you guys to do the same, okay? So I want this to be called We're Still Here, right? I think it's a great topic of what we're going to be talking about today. And this is because we will talk about setting boundaries, we'll talk about taking rest, we'll talk about healing. And all these things come after we get hurt, you know? We need to amplify our voices, you know? When you set boundaries, you need to be able to say that and you need to be able to say that with a stern tone. because you don't want nobody stepping over yourself because that's hurting you. And that's you having self-respect for yourself. So you need to learn how to self-bound. You need to learn how to set your boundaries so nobody crosses that boundary. But we're going to talk about that a little bit further. I don't want to go too far into it. We're going to talk about taking rest. Rest is very important because you need to be at 100% most of the time, or not most of the time. At least we need to be at 80, right? But you need to know when you need to take a rest. So this is why we need to amplify our voices, as a community. We're going to talk about healing, I'm talking about how we could, the word is resilience for me. I'm going to talk about healing, and when we're hurt, we need to carry our baggage with us, but we need to be strong and still show up to our responsibilities at the same time, you know? But that's enough of all of that, right? I'm gonna tell you guys my story, okay? So, in the past year of my life, I've experienced a lot of losses who reshaped who I am, right? I've lost two of my closest friends. They had different places in my heart. One was my Fortnite duo. I don't know if you guys remember when Fortnite was hot, but man, that was my Fortnite duo of seventh grade. He was tied to comfort and familiarity, and he was a person who believed in me, um, for everything. My other friend, his name was Kevon Walker. My other friend, Kai Mesmer. We ran track together. When I first started track, he was my best buddy. He was my mentor. He was my competition. He helped push me to become a better person and to become a better athlete. Um, their absence isn't and their absence in my life isn't just emotional. It shows up in the quiet moments of my life, in the things that I used to do without thinking, and in the parts of myself that were formed alongside with them. Now I get on the game and I see Kevon's gamer tag. Now I go run track and I go think about Kai all the time. It hurts. It hurts my heart when I think about them, but I know I got to keep pushing forward for them. Those blocks in the road, they didn't change me though, because now I have people to live for. When I dig the hole, when times got hard and I thought about quitting, I thought about my two friends, and they didn't have the luxury that we all have today. They were only both 18. So I bet they had dreams for the future. I bet they had plans for tomorrow. I bet they had promises that they couldn't keep, but they're gone. And this is why I got to keep moving forward for them. I got to keep pushing forward. And on top of that, about 6 months ago, I ended my 3-year relationship with my ex, someone who had been my everything through every setback in my life, someone I leaned on for conversation, for comfort, and a presence when words couldn't even come out of my mouth. She was my everything. I wanted everything with her and I wanted to prosper, but she, my life was molded around her. And that was because we talked for 4 years straight. So I had to make a decision that I had to let her go so she can grow into her own person. So I cannot hold her back, but I want her to shape however she wants to look. All of this changed me in the past year of my life. It made me more fragile how connection can really be, but it showed me the capacity of my own when life feels heavy. Resilience for me hasn't looked like pushing the pain away. It looks like showing up to practice, to my all my responsibilities, to life when carrying grief with me, and to these experiences. And these experiences have deepened my empathy and strengthened my independence and taught me resilience isn't about being untouched by loss, but it's about continuing to move forward while honoring the people in the moments that reshape who I am. Now, some people might ask, how did I climb this mountain? How have I been pushing forward, right? And I've been doing it by faith. I have faith in myself and I have faith in God. You know, God is my foundation, and my problems are little, man. I'm blessed, and I just have to realize that I have to be ready for the next step of my life. So I just have to keep working and get ready. I have to understand that failure is where growth begins, and every setback is going to teach me something new, you know? So I ask, when you fail, because you will fail, because you're human, ask yourself, what can I take from this? This can be as little as getting caught cheating on a test, or as big as a death. you have to just live and you learn. What do you learn from their life? You know, it's something simple, you know. It's really hard, but I'm gonna ask you guys a question. I'm gonna ask you guys a question, and then I'm gonna keep moving forward. I want you guys to keep it in your head. I got about three questions for you guys, if that's okay. Um, okay. So I want you guys to ask, am I living for myself or am I living for approval? I just want you guys to think about that for like 10 seconds. And then I got like a sub question. And when I ask you guys this, right, I want you, where in your life does it feel like you can't be yourself? Why are you trying to please these other human beings? Because a lot in life, we try to put on this persona that is not us. And we try to do things that or be around people that are, I guess, not the people for us or aren't good influences. And now you're putting on a mask that is not you. So I want you to, if you know, if you know I'm talking to you right now, I would hope you know that it is time for a change. It is time to amplify your voice. So I want to talk about, why do boundaries matter? Because the first thing is, when we talk about amplifying our voice, we need to start with boundaries, right? So the first reason why boundaries matters is because it helps your mental health. Your boundaries can reduce stress, it can prevent burnout, and it can protect your emotional well-being. The second reason is because it creates healthy relationships. They create mutual respect and clear expectations between people and yourself. It also creates self-respect. Setting boundaries show that you value yourself and your needs. I can tell you one of the biggest things for me, and what I'm honestly learning now is, I'm an RA, and a lot of people come to me for their problems, right? I got a lot of stuff to do, but if you think of more as like a pyramid, I'm near the top of the pyramid. Like, I'm not like a normal student, right? The students come to me for their problems, and they come to me for this, and they come to me for questions. So I'm like, um, think of it as like a big brother or a mentor, right? And I have to realize that I am not their friend, you know? And that's something very hard for me because I'm a cool guy. I mean, look at me. I'm cool, right? So I'm a chill guy, right? But I have to realize that I can't be one of them, you know? And they kind of treat me like one of them. So that's where you have to set that boundary to not be in that area, because then they're gonna treat you like one of them. Now, I've came into situations where some of them, they're talking about whatever, and I have to like set that boundary, like, bro, like, you can't do this. Like, I am your RA, and it has to be some type of respect here. It has to be something. It has to be some line that you cannot, it's a line that you cannot cross. And at the end of the day, being an RA, I'm a mandated reporter. So everything I hear, I have to write an IR for. So it's just about being careful. I mean, I like being cool. I play ping pong with them. I play basketball with them. I cook them in all these things. I play pool with them. What else do I play with them? We're doing a kickball event. I'm doing all these things. I run track with some of these guys. So I still have to remind them, like, yo, like, you have to calm down. Another thing for me, that might be what other people don't like too, is I don't like when people cuss at me, and or disrespect me in a way, in that sort of form, but mostly cuss at me. I usually I just feel like it should be some type of mutual respect when we're talking to each other, you know? And I think that when we're talking to each other, if you cuss at me, it's a sort of like, I can't think of the word, but when you're like, I feel like if you cuss, like, I don't cuss at you, or if you call me a word, or if you call me something that makes me, like, kind of puts me down, I'm like, why would you do that? Because I would never try to do that to you. And there's a respect factor here. So I encourage you, when you set your boundaries, you have to do it politely. So let's say somebody's cussing at me, I'm like, bro, can you please not cuss at me? I mean, I respect you, but when you cuss at me, I feel like you're not respecting me and you're crossing my boundaries right now. Somewhere in that sort, I want you guys to find something. I want you guys to figure out your boundaries, because this is like probably one of the biggest things. It's probably the biggest thing I'm going to talk about today, is setting our boundaries, because This is about growing our voice. This is about amplifying our voice right now. Do we understand how big this is? Our voice makes us so different from everybody else, you know? This is very, very important. Boundaries are essential for personal growth, man. By setting and respecting our boundaries, we create a healthy relationship and a stronger sense of ourselves, man. So we gotta grow. It's time for us to grow. Don't you think it's time? Come on, man. Now I'm going to talk about a little bit of stigmas that we hear from Black households that we hear but aren't the truth, you know. I'm going to list them down for you and I'm going to talk a little bit about it, right? Another one is, or the first one is, medication means something is wrong with you. Um, just this is just what we hear once in a while, like from our day-to-day life, but this is something that we hear, right? Another one is therapy is only for people with serious problems. Okay. The next one is asking for help means you're failing, right? I'm sorry, am I moving back? I need to sit in my chair. I have a rocky chair. I like to go back and forth. Um, Asking for help means you're failing. Another one is pray it away. I feel like I've heard that one before a little bit. And definitely what I've heard without a doubt, and I'm positive some of you guys heard without a doubt, is what happens in this house stays in this house, you know? Um, I'm gonna talk about the way I could think of this is in the best way is a chain, right? And in a way, it's a generational curse that we're bringing down from family to family. And let's say your grandfather, I don't know how far you guys can see my hand right now, but I'm gonna start here. You have your grandfather, and he has what happens in this house stays in this house, right? And then they're creating habits like unhealthy habits where it's an unhealthy environment that let's say your mom or your dad now they just they bring that down and now they're taking some of their habits and now they're bringing it down to their parenting because that's all they know when it comes to parenting, you know. And now it goes down to little old you. So now you got to deal with your mom. I mean, we all got pros and cons. My mom does, I do. We're only human, you know what I'm saying? But we have to understand that we're taking all this baggage from our grandfather, our great grandfather, and we're just going up and up, you know what I'm saying? So we just all this stuff that we're taking, we have to start intentional and we have to break that chain. One thing I was thinking of, like, um, I want to have kids young, but I don't know when that time is going to be. But what is the pros and cons of my mom and my father? Let's say like whoopings or something, right? Um, like how does whoopings make you feel after you get a whooping? I know when I used to get whoopings is I used to like fear. I used to feel fear. I used to feel so sad. I used to be so scared. I don't know. I used to feel I don't I don't really remember how I used to feel, but I just used to be really in fear, you know, and that's something that came down from probably all the way from my great grandfather or something like that. It just keeps going down, you know, and I don't know if that's good to create that environment of fear, you know, because now it's like, oh, I have to watch myself. Obviously, it's your parent, but I don't even know if I'm gonna get this whooping or not because I'm too scared. And one way we can break some of these chains, some of these things that we're talking about is we need to start intentional, you know. We really need to want the change, you know. We need to have honest conversations about our mental health. So when you talk about therapy is only for people with serious problems. Come on, man. We need to have conversations. And something that I'm gonna talk about a little bit later is like who are your resources? Like who are you gonna talk to? You know, because it might not be your parents. Sometimes people can't talk to their parents. Sometimes people can't talk to their friends. Sometimes people can't talk to their sibling. But who is your resource? I don't know. My personal resource, it was my ex, but now my resource is God. I go to God for a lot of my problems, and it makes me feel good just talking to God and just being still and just calming down, you know? Sometimes you have to just woosah, you know? So yeah, we have to start intentional. We got to start having these normal conversations about mental health. We got to make it more normal, man. Make sure we check up on each other. We need to normalize therapy, to normalize medication, and asking help for strains. And the best thing I could think of this to when we're asking for help, and that's something I feel like I'm good at, is when you go to a store, right? It's this big old store. Let's say Walmart, why not? If Walmart. And you looking for the deodorant or something, right? It takes you a long time to try to find that deodorant by yourself because you don't know the store at all, you know? But if you go to a clerk and somebody that could guide you to the destination that you're trying to get, doesn't it make everything much easier, you know? And I put that as an analogy because I think it's a great way to think about when we're having our problems. Sometimes we just need to talk it out with somebody, and maybe that person, let's say I talk to my mom. I talk to my mom about some of my stuff too, some of the stuff I'm going through. And let's say she's like, I think you need a therapist. That's just how that clerk is bringing you to that resource that you need to the deodorant, you know? Or maybe you need to go talk to God about this. Or maybe you should go back to your friend and tell them I'm sorry. It's the same exact way, guys. Your resources are very important, but make sure you find that good resource. And you need to find somebody that aligns with you. Find somebody that has a good mind, man, a strong, good mind and that aligns with you. I want to encourage the next generation, which is us and anybody younger than me, to seek support without shame. It is not shameful to be hurt. We are, like I said, and I'm gonna say this so many times, we are only human beings. We are gonna mess up. We are going to get hurt. Times are gonna get tough. This is life. But we gotta know how to break cycles and choose healing over avoidance. If we choose avoidance, we're gonna be what is that word called? We're gonna have burnout. We're gonna have burnout and we're just gonna be way more stressful if we just avoid our problems. So I want you guys to choose to heal. And we're gonna talk about a little bit why. We're gonna talk about healing a little bit further down, right? Um, I'm gonna ask you guys another question, but it's gonna be a little quick, right? The question's gonna be, do you need to be fixed or you don't need to be fixed? Sometimes you just need to be heard, you know? And like I was saying before, and I kind of spoiling y'all. I'm sorry. Um, who/what are your resources? Like, like I told you guys my resources. I spoiled this one for you. I'm sorry, guys. My resources is I guess now my mom and my dad. My mom, I like talking to them. They're chill people, you know. I like them. I love you, mom. Um, Yeah, but I like talking to them about my problems. I love talking to God about my problems. People that align with me, my brothers in Christ, that align with my mind. I talk to them about my problems too. But you have to understand that you cannot put all that baggage on your back. Eventually you're gonna fold and you're gonna blow up, bro. So it's time. You need to find this first line of healing and that we need to defend ourselves, man. We can't just be taking all these hits and just keeping it in, you know. We need to defend ourselves, man. So I challenge you to use your resources. Please, people, please, 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 youth, please. Okay. All right, let's go a little bit further, right? So I'm gonna talk about this next one is gonna be sometimes we're not okay, and that's okay. So being not okay is a normal part of being human, you know? If we ignore these feelings, it could just lead to burnout and emotional overload. So I think the first step towards healing is just acknowledging our emotions. Being not okay is normal, but we just need to know how to deal with our problems, how to keep going, how to be resilient, how to be strong-minded, and we cannot falter. You gotta, like I said before, you gotta believe in yourself, man. Like, man, I just had a track meet yesterday, and some of these guys, they're coming out. They didn't have a good season. One of my friend, man, he did not believe in himself at all. Like, please believe in yourself. You will get over these problems. I'm personally still struggling with my breakup, but I know God is gonna take me through that problem. I'm gonna get through. I'm gonna get through it. I might not be fully through it now, but I know I'm gonna come out of this way better. I'm gonna come out of this as a better young man. I'm gonna come out of this better, I'm gonna be stronger, I'm gonna be wiser, I'm gonna learn something from it. But you have to speak that into existence. The words of your mouth is very important. That your speech, whatever you say, be a man or a woman of integrity. Whatever comes out of your mouth, you own it and you live it, Whatever you say, it has to go like that. You can't say something and do the opposite. Being not okay is part of human experiences. We can't always feel 100%, guys. We're only human, and ignoring these emotions can lead to burnout or emotional overload, like we were talking about. And if you guys don't know what burnout is, because I've talked about it a few times, burnout is when you feel exhaustion physically, mentally, or spiritually. And you can feel this from like just mostly an overload of work. I feel this sometimes. I feel this sometimes. Like I said, I'm an RA. I run track. I do school. I work with my mom. I do a lot of stuff. So you just got to know when it's to take rest. You got to know when it's time to heal. Next thing we're going to talk about is healing. So, healing doesn't always look like being okay. Sometimes it just looks like showing up anyways. And I wonder, like I know you guys are wondering, like, how do I keep coming up with these rhymes? And it's just at the top of my head. I'm like, I'm just a genius. I'm a musical genius, right? So that choice to keep going, even when you're tired, hurting, or even unsure, that's called resilience, people. You know, it's not about perfectly bouncing back. It's about staying present, learning, and not giving up on yourself. You have to believe in yourself and speak that and acknowledge your emotions. Own it. Own your emotions. It's your own emotions. You have to own it, people. Come on. You don't have to feel okay. You don't have to feel okay to move forward. You just have to set boundaries, take a step back, set some boundaries, and take care of yourself. You gotta put a circle around you, your little bubble. Don't let, bro, set that boundary. It's okay. Um, it's valid to be healing while carrying the weight of your experiences. It's just kind of life. Like I said, at times we're gonna have to do things while we're hurt. And if you wait until you're fully healed if you wait until you're fully healed to accept new things, you will block some of your blessings. And that's something that I'm trying to not like I'm not trying to block anything that's coming my way because I'm stuck on the past. We have to understand that like we're gonna have new opportunities coming our way. We're gonna have new things and new ways to make us stronger and to become better human beings, but we can't block it because we're our hearts are so hardened and our minds are or we're closed-minded or we're cloudy. We can't do that. We have to understand that everybody in this world have skeletons in our closet. We all have stuff that we don't want to talk about. We all have bad things in our life. We're all going through something. We're going through something together. Come on, people. So we just have to we just have to work on getting back up. We have to get back up and we have to go. We have to get back up. We fall, we get back up. Sorry, we get back up. The healing and the growing process can happen at the same time. I hope you guys can know that you can heal and grow at the same time, right? Even when it feels messy or incomplete, you don't have to be fully healed to learn. You don't have to be fully healed to set boundaries. You don't have to be fully healed to move forward, people. Growth often happens inside the healing process through reflection, through resilience, through choosing healthier patterns for our lives. Come on. Come on. Now, another one of the biggest things I want to talk about is rest is not laziness. And I'm going to talk about why rest matters because you need to know when no, like no means no. You need to know when you need some rest. And I'm going to tell you why it is very important, right? So, rest can help reduce stress for your mental health. It can improve focus for your mental health, and it can support your emotional regulation of overall. If you wanna regulate normally, you know, sometimes you need to take a step back so you can improve your focus. Um, like I'm gonna talk about physical health before I like start going into it. But sleep slash breaks, just for your physical health, sleep slash breaks allow you to repair and recharge. One thing for me, I be running all over the place during the day. I be doing a lot, and it might be too much. But I know for me is I need a 30-minute nap in this beautiful bed. I need a 30-minute nap for me to function right for the rest of the day. I have classes from sometimes 8 to 12, from 9 to 12, and then I take a nap, and then I got track practice at 3. But then, oh, I forgot to say I got lift. I got lifting there, and then I got other stuff. I got RA meetings. I got all these different meetings to go to. So you have to know that rest is very, very, very important to be 100%. Rest is often misunderstood as laziness, but it's actually essential for mental, emotional, and physical well-being. So without rest, our bodies and mind can't function at their best. In conclusion, rest is a necessary part of self-care and resilience. Prioritizing rest allows you to show up fully for yourselves and others. That rest is going to promote long-term success. Why do I keep rhyming? Come on, people. All right. All right. So this is my closing. This is the your call to action, all right? So I want you guys to do this. I've asked you guys a few questions, a little bit of reflection. I know you guys didn't get that much time, but if you're a child, please, please check on your parent. Please. I mean, your parents go through so much stuff for you and so much things. But when was the last time you think somebody actually checked up on them and asked, how's your mental health? How are you feeling on the inside? Because we see you on the outside. But how are you feeling on the inside? How's your heart feel? If you're a parent, please check on your child. We go through a lot of things in our lives. Please just check on the child. We never know what's going in our heads. And at the same time, my parents, they don't even see me too often because I'm at college, you know? And if you don't have either, check on somebody you haven't talked to 3 to 6 months. That person that's coming up to your head right now, please check on them. Please. Thank you, Miss Sarah. Thank you for this organization. I want to say I love you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dennis. I was trying to take notes, I was trying to listen, but thank you for that strong call to action and so many messages in itself about navigating the losses in your life, kicking us off with the losses, different level losses, relationships and losses of life, setting boundaries and getting rest, and understanding that traditional pathways to mental health and wellness and resilience may look different, may very well looks different. So thank you for that message. I'm already getting a bunch of texts of people wanting your number and to engage you. So I'm getting it over and over. And I say thank you. Keep doing what you're doing. You're on the path to something greatness. Not you're on the path, you are there on something greatness. And we say thank you. We will keep you in our thoughts. We will keep you around us so we can learn from you. And thank you for your authenticity in sharing and pouring your heart into this keynote. And you're welcome to stay on stage because after the panelists, I'm sure there possibly be some questions. And there are some questions in the chat. Hopefully, we'll get to a little later. Okay, so again, thank you. You got a lot of kudos and
So much.
so much more.
Thank you.
We are going to transition. There's going to be a couple slides of announcements that will come up. There are some questions in the question and answer. If you did sign into the Zoom, we have your attendance and know you are here. Anyone that signed in, we know you are here. We will answer questions if we are able to answer questions. And I'm just going to make an announcement. If Polly Pope is in the Zoom room with a different name, please let us know that you are here so we can bring you up on stage. Polly, if you are here, please let us know. We don't see you, but we want to make sure that you get this to participate in the youth panel. And I will defer our announcements to later, tech team, because we want to turn it over to this panel to give them their time. I'm happy to have leaders in our organization that have worked. We have a model in Rochester and Western New York to put youth through the cohort to become credentialed youth peer advocates. And I'm turning it over to Angela Cologne Retness, who is our senior youth navigator, youth alumni, but credentialed family peer advocate leading our Western New York work and work in Rochester. And Mona, Lisa Mitchum, everyone knows Mona in the peer space, not just locally, but nationally. So I am moving out of the way. It is Mona Lisa, and Angela is going to take it from there.
Thank you, Sarah. I just want to give a quick, my side computer screen just went off, so I'm going to go off by my mind. So I'm just going to improvise because I don't have my notes no more. So I do want to say thank you, first of all, to the panelists for joining us, and to Sarah for allowing us, for believing in us and being our leader and guiding us, giving us a chance to moderate this panel. I was thinking she threw us to the wolves because she believed that we could help lead the pack. So thank you for this experience. And I also want to say that it's been a pleasure. It's been a privilege to be part of the cohort, to lead in Rochester and in Buffalo, and to be part of each panelist's journey to become credentialed and part of the youth peer advocacy field. And very, very, very much thank you. Grand hug to Mona Lisa for being such a amazing peer at heart and in soul. She's been such an amazing partner to work with in Buffalo, New York. And I just want to give her a few moments to speak, to introduce herself before we get into the first questions.
Good morning, everyone. Again, my name is Mona Lisa McEhain. I have the privilege to serve as the Senior Peer Family Navigator for the Partners in Community Development BIPOC Peak Initiative. Again, I am a certified peer recovery advocate. I also hold my SERPA family. I am a New York certified peer specialist, and I also have earned my professional family peer advocate credential. I come to this space grounded in lived and living experience as a woman in recovery, as a mother, as a grandmother, and as someone deeply committed to uplifting youth and family voice in our communities. I am truly honored to help hold space for this powerful conversation today. As we center the youth voice, we're not just asking young people to speak, we are asking ourselves as adults, as providers, and as systems to listen differently. This space is about lived experience, it's about truth, it's about healing together. But we don't have to do that in isolation, but we want to do it in community. And to our youth panelists, we want you to know again, your voice matters. There are no perfect answers, it's just real ones. And just to reiterate what Sarah said, this is just a gentle reminder. This is a community educational space. If anyone needs support beyond this conversation, please connect with a licensed provider or call or text 988. And again, I'm grateful too to be co-facilitating with Angela today. Again, we'll guide the flow, but the real leaders of this segment are the young people that's seated here on the panels. And again, I turn it back over to you, Angela.
Thank you, Mona. And I do want to reiterate, I guess, we decided it was Mona's great idea that we let the youth choose some of their questions. So we did give a question out, but there are a total of 3 questions. Not sure if we will get to all 3 of them, but 2 out of the 3 were chosen by the youth specifically. So to get started, my monitor actually started working, so thank God. I want to start with Miiko, Mimi Phillips, and give her a little bio on her. Mimi Phillips is a proud graduate of the 3rd FPA cohort, so Family Peer Advocate cohort here in Rochester. She's a graduate of the 3rd one. She is also the first to graduate as a YPA in Rochester. She is a dedicated to representing and supporting the voices of young people while advocating for youth peer advocates across New York State. She's dually certified, as you guys know, dually credentialed, and she works alongside Families Together as our partners. She is also the founder of Kaleidoscope Kids Rock. Hooray! A business dedicated to empowering families and individuals with special needs in the greater Rochester area. So I do want to give a special shout out to Mimi. I'm going to say something special about all of you guys, because you know how I am. So I love Mimi since I first saw her dedication, her power, her empathy. So I see you all. And for your first question, in what ways can natural healers and traditional practices be integrated into Main Street wellness strategies to uplift communities and support mental health?
Thank you so much, Angela and BIPOC Peak and Sarah, for having me here. It has been a pleasure to have you as my mentor and to be here with you guys today. So when we talk about integrating natural healers and traditional practices into mainstream wellness, what we're really talking about is culturally responsive care. This is support that honors identity, addresses intergenerational trauma, and creates healing spaces that can feel familiar, safe, and accessible. First, I believe we need to normalize ancestral wellness as valid care. Too often, our practices like herbal remedies, spiritual cleansings, prayer circles, drumming, dance, and storytelling are dismissed in clinical spaces. For Black youth, weaving these into our wellness plans affirms our identity. It reduces medical mistrust, and it removes shame around using both traditional and clinical tools. I believe we can also serve to bring community healers directly into our youth spaces, whether this is elders, doulas, faith leaders, herbalists, our barbers and stylists, midwives, and other cultural practitioners. Partnering with these trusted figures to co-facilitate our circles, to support our parenting youth, and contribute to suicide prevention efforts creates a new hybrid model that feels authentic and accessible to our youth. Another key piece is recentering collective healing. Black healing traditions have always been communal. Integrating group support, youth-led circles, mentorship that's rooted in kinship, and practices that emphasize interdependence resonates deeply with our Black youth who may carry family burdens or distrust of formal systems. And finally, education matters. While it shouldn't fall solely on the Black community, our clinicians do need training from Black cultural practitioners. Our programs should include African and Caribbean-centered frameworks and acknowledge systemic and historical trauma, not just our individual symptoms, in order to help us build trust and improve engagement. When our natural healers and our traditional practices are integrated into mainstream wellness, our Black youth can experience stronger identity, their deeper community connection, and it reduces stigma, which improves emotional regulation and provides a greater sense of belonging and empowerment. The goal here isn't to replace clinical care. We need to expand it so that Black youth can finally see themselves reflected in every step of the healing process.
Wow. Totally, that is so powerful. I believe a lot in other remedies. It's not always a traditional pathway that works for everyone. So moving on. Thank you for that, Mimi. We are gonna pull up who's next? ZRihanna. Zari. So ZRihanna, what I want to say about you is that you are a caring, and curious person, like a curious individual. It was a pleasure working with you, and just knowing that you are in the beginning of your journey, and all the potential that you have. Don't be shy. It is okay to be nervous. So for your first question, well, let me introduce you. She is a teacher assistant at the, let me see if I get this right, Foundry, I think that's how you pronounce it, Foundry Youth Build in Buffalo, New York. So your first question, ZRihanna, is, oh, I got to highlight. She is the first to submit of the first cohort in Buffalo. So, so for your question, how can storytelling and sharing lived experience help normalize mental health conversations and reduce shame or fear in BIPOC communities?
I personally think sharing your story is an amazing thing in our community, especially like in a person to person sense. You know, we always watch ads on TV or we're forced to sit through lectures in middle school that you really don't want to go through about mental health, thinking that it only happens to certain people, that it'll never happen to me because I don't fit that mental health criteria. And until it happens to you. And you feel alone because you don't fit the exact description of what you see on flyers or anti-bullying ads on TV, because it's usually, at least the ones I've seen, it's usually just white children. And oh, hold on, I have my notes.
Yeah, can you get a little closer to the mic too?
Oh yeah.
Thank you.
But having somebody to talk to you that looks like you, that speaks like you, that acts like you, talking about something so personal can really bring out the strength in that individual to help others that look like them and empower them to not be afraid to tell their story in the community that usually thinks our community usually thinks that anything mental is a taboo subject. So I think that it's really strong to get others out there that can impact others that think they're alone in these situations. I think that is very helpful.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. So having that representation in order to feel like you're in a safe space, to be able to express yourself without having to have that idea of being judged.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for that, Zari. So our next panel for the close up of round one is Tenin Sidime. Did I pronounce that? Can you pronounce that, Tenin? Your last name?
It's Tenin Sidime.
Sidime. Okay, thank you for that. So Tenin Sidime, she is our graduate from Rochester. And for her, I want to say that she was always on time. I love our conversations as we waited for others to show up. Like, she's so open-minded and having that other cultural perspective. Like, she's just wow. So I very much enjoy our conversations. She is a manager at what is it? Program manager. Hold on, let me read this right. Manager of program and training at NAMI Rochester. I got it. And yes, he was like one of the top participants, always respectful, open ended conversations. And for you, your first question before I kick it off to Mona to do the second round, your first question is, have you faced or witnessed stress, discrimination, or trauma related to your identity? What would help create safer spaces for you and others?
Okay, thank you so much, Angela, and everyone here on this panelist as well, and those that are watching and listening. But I would say to this question is yes, I have experienced stress connecting to my identity as a Muslim woman and African immigrant woman as well, especially as someone who wears the hijab. I literally wear my identity everywhere I go, no matter if I'm hiding it or not. Navigating school system, medical settings, and leadership roles sometimes meant being the only visible Muslim woman in a room, which sometimes could be scary, intimidating, and pressure because so many assumptions that come with it. There were moments of microaggressions, assumptions, of being underestimated, which is more common now with current events. For example, I had IEP, so I was an IEP student receiving speech therapy. I already felt different from the beginning when I first came to America, so that was adding a little sprinkle of what it would feel like in America. Adding cultural and religious differences sometimes intensified that feeling. Later, managing medical challenges while balancing school responsibility created emotional strain. And there were times where I felt misunderstood, not only because of my health, but because of the stereotypes about being Muslim or being an African person. As for the second part of the question, what can we do to create a safer space? I think I could think of at least four, but there are many elements for creating a safer space. One could be representation, as ZRihanna stated. Um, young young Muslims and African girls who see and look like people like me, such as when I became the first hijab president of Brockport Student Government at SUNY Brockport. It was challenging and limited narrative, but it showed visibility and safety and a community that has not been seen on campus as much. I also was the vice president of the Muslim Student Association as well on that campus. And from there, my successor were also women of immigrant backgrounds. So I created a trend on my campus. Um, Another one would be creating culture, humanity in a school in healthcare, providing an educator and showing understanding that faith, migration, and family dynamic influence how young people experience stress. Asking open-ended questions instead of making assumption makes a difference. And every household is built different. Like mine's, whenever we go to someone's house that's not even our aunt, our blood auntie or uncle, we just say hello aunt, hello uncle. We go home, take off our shoe at the front door, and then call to respect, shake everyone's hand, and say assalamu alaikum or hello, depending who we're talking to. Another one would be like peer-based space. When I was younger, I took part in many youth programs and groups that kept me busy. One of the programs what I done growing up was going to Camp Hope over the summer, which was very powerful because I did not just have to explain my medical challenge to anyone, other than everyone simply understood where we all came from and our backgrounds and why we are here. This safe space is created when people share lived experience and allow these safe space to happen is the key. Another thing is happening open conversation about discrimination, where we all have our own biases. Ignoring these biases does not make it disappeared, and creating forums where young people and youth can talk about self-identity, trust help validate the experience and reduce isolations. Safer spaces are built when young people feel seen, heard, and respected, and not forced to choose between their identity because I learned that the hard way a little bit, but I'm proud of who I am. And I walk down the street with my head up high and just smile at people.
Wow. That was amazing. Thank you, Tenin. That was amazing. I love, the asking questions. Don't make assumptions. Make sure that those questions are open-ended. And, creating these spaces for youth to feel seen, heard, and respected, in which, they could openly discuss their identity and how they feel. Thank you for that. I will pass it on to Mona. She will do our next round.
All righty. Thank you. And everyone, you guys are doing great. Okay, in this round, we're going to be focusing on healing, access, barriers, and family support. And I'm going to start with you, Mimi. So your first question, the question is, what role does culture, faith, or community play in healing?
Thank you for that question, Mona Lisa. I think I'm going to touch on all three. All right. Culture, number one, I think that our culture grounds our youth in identity and belonging. It can offer us language for pain and resilience. We often have family rituals that bring us comfort, and even ancestral practices like drumming, dancing, and storytelling often resonate very strongly with our identity. And culture reinforces pride, creativity, history, and collective strength, which helps youth to feel seen and empowered. When it comes to faith, faith can provide hope, meaning, and emotional safety. Whether this is expressed through religion, spirituality, nature, meditation, or just reverence for your ancestors, faith can give our youth a sense of guidance and relief from burdens. Our faith spaces often offer mentorship, healthy relationships, leadership opportunities, and room for emotional expression, which can help our youth feel grounded, especially when life feels unstable. Community can give our youth connection, witnessing, and support. This can show up in our peer support groups, our barbershops, our beauty salons, our youth programs, our children family, art spaces, mentors, and even the online communities that we create. Community offers shared understanding, validation, access to resources, and collective healing practices like these stories telling circles and trauma-informed spaces. It reduces shame, builds belonging, and strengthens coping through connection, not isolation. I believe that these three pillars matter deeply for Black youth who often navigate racial trauma, disparities, microaggressions, family stress, and a lack of culturally competent services. Culture, faith, and community can restore what these systems have attempted to take away: our dignity, our voice, our connection, and lastly, our hope. Together, these three can create a healing ecosystem where our Black youth experience belonging. They need to know that they're not alone. They need to understand that they have an identity and know where they come from. They need agency and to know that there's power in their story and in their voice, as well as purpose, understanding that their life has meaning, that they're supported and people care about them, and that they are absolutely 100% resilient and can overcome any challenge with help. For me, my faith is actually what brought me to trauma supported services and therapy. So my therapist happened to be a Black woman who is trauma informed and culturally was able to talk to me not only from a medical standpoint, but throughout my faith standpoint, and to break things down for me in a way that really I could understand. That brought me into further practices like trauma informed yoga, where I practice with females every 2 weeks here in the Rochester community, and we talk about our problems. We talk about coping mechanisms. We talk about self-regulation and breathing exercises, and then also even into tapping. It has brought me into so many different spaces, and my faith was the avenue for that. As a person who grew up in a primarily Caribbean household, I have to be really honest, we didn't always talk about mental health, but mental health was definitely prevalent. I did have services when I was a kid. I did go to family therapy, but it was kind of like this unseen thing that we weren't supposed to talk about that should not have been happening, rather than seen as a resource for us to build the coping skills that were necessary to actually break the intergenerational trauma that was going on, to actually recognize the things that were going on in the different systems, how we were being racially profiled, how they didn't see that my single mother who was leaving work constantly to make these appointments was simply doing her best. And so just in those spaces, it was truly my culture and my faith that allowed for my ultimate healing, and are the strength points on my journey now. For recovery, I go to church every Sunday, and that is something that I have to do. It's something I have to do because my faith is part of my self-care. And just as Dennis was talking about, spiritual self-care, cultural self-care, these are all things that keep us connected. And without connection, we fall short. We fall in a crevice by ourselves, and we really have to stay connected. This is about collective healing. And so bringing our faith, our communities, and our culture to the table, make sure that you're seeing a person as a holistic individual, not just a person with symptoms. We have to be person first, and we have to be strength-based here.
Great answer. I love it. Again, what I hear, culture is not separate from healing. It is healing, and that our faith and community can anchor our resilience. Great answer. Now, next is Zari. All righty. And so, Zari, your question is, have you ever felt misunderstood when trying to explain how you felt? And what could be done differently to help you feel seen and supported?
I can definitely say that I have a lot. And of course, we all understand to a certain degree that we're able to understand to. And we don't all know it all. It's like we don't have the answer to everything. But I really think it comes down to a personal level of ignorance. Ignorance isn't always a bad thing. It's just the lack of information. But it can definitely change how you can come off and how you process things, especially if you're talking to another person. It's like knowing when to step back. If I'm having a problem personally, depending on the level of feedback I would receive, but most of the time I just want people to just be quiet and listen. I think most misunderstandings start when people try to find a quick solution in their head to your problems, and that's usually not what any of us need. You may be able to relate to a certain extent, but you'll never truly know what somebody's feeling. So it's best you just stay quiet until you get direct confirmation and stop trying to make up things in your head. it definitely comes back to making assumptions. Like, don't make assumptions, keep an open mind. But if that is the instance where I'm asking you for guidance, I personally really like the parrot method. Like, if I'm telling you a story, you say it back to me. And so if there's any miscommunication or you think that something's happening and it's not, I can nip it at the bud instead of it like brewing in your head and like making a situation that doesn't really exist and you running with it. And that's not what we need at all. The miscommunication and the misunderstanding comes with you trying to push ahead while I'm still talking about my story. So I definitely think people need to be more open-minded and just lend an open ear and stop trying to. There's no fast solution to any problem. I really think that just staying in the moment with you would help more than trying to like rush ahead of me and be like, oh, I dealt with this before. You can do this, and that. Like, just calm down. We're both feeling it at the same time. Just give me a second and just staying with me.
Thank you for naming what truly, what being truly seen looks like, and that vulnerability is definitely strength. All righty, we're gonna go Tenin. You're next. All righty, and Tenin, if I can ask, what steps can families take to build healthy communication and resilience at home?
All right, thank you so much, Mona Lisa, for the question. As I stated in my previous response, I share my identity, and I believe that family build resilience by creating space where children feel emotionally safe, spiritually grounded, and culturally affirmed. Many immigrant families, including mine, face barriers such as language differences, stigma surrounding mental health, and medical challenges, and adjusting to new spaces or countries or whatever they are migrating to. Because of this, community must be intentional. Communication must be intentional. One important step is normalizing conversation about emotions. In many African and Muslim households, mental health is not always an open discussion. And that's something I learned to enforce in my family by making sure I check in with my siblings mentally, emotionally, and physically and see what's going on with them, as well as my mom and my stepfather as well. So I did struggle like the lack of communicating with other people around me. So that was pretty challenging, but I later navigated that mental health and outcome is what helped me with most of my, when it comes to trusting adults. Listening without judgment is also a key factor, and families can build resilience by allowing children to express fear, frustration, and confusion without immediately dismissing their feelings or closing them down or shutting the situation down. Another key step is advocating within the system. When my school when I was part of the IEP in New York City, it gave me access to, the speech therapies, and it helped me strengthen my confidence when it comes to speaking and navigating this new language. And although I sometimes felt embarrassed being pulled out of class and my family not really understanding what this was because they thought I was delayed mentally or physically, whatever the case may be, but for them to learn the process of what it is and how it's going and how now I'm a graduate student and I'm doing a lot of advancement in my career. Now my mom was like, wow, that did help you throughout this journey. And I wish I understood it better than this child tell you not to do it and not to, comply. But allow us to be more strength and receiving more accommodation and supporting our success in our life and advocating teachers for children's that their needs are very important. As when it comes to faith, it can also play a powerful role. As a Muslim woman, I incorporate du'as, which is basically supplication and making sincere prayers. And prayers, we do this like 5 times a day to reflect into our daily life. And key thing is Ramadan right now. So we've been fasting. Today's day 4. So it's something we are one of my favorite holidays of the year. And this is something I love to dedicate my time in. And it helps me build, emotional control, strength, and hope. Faith reminds me that hardship does not define me, it refrains me. It teaches children that challenges are part of growth while still validating their struggles, help create balance between resilience and compassion. And finally, family can build resilience by seeking community. Programs like Camp Hope or outside organization like Bobbitt Peak can attend and showcasing this around the community from elementary school through high school and now through college and giving me a belonging and connection. Families shouldn't hesitate to seek cultural responsive programming, peer support, or trusted community leaders who understand and live their experience. Community communication starts with listening, continuing advocacy, and it is strengthened by faith, cultural pride, and community support. Thank you.
Thank you, Tenin. That insight was just so powerful. And because of the time, I'm going to, am I turning it back over to you, Angela? Talk to me. Or are we just going to
Yes.
go into the closing reflection?
Well, we were hoping to get time for the for the closing reflection, but I see that we don't. But I do just want to say thank you to all of you ladies for
You can do
participating.
the closing reflection. They can give
Okay.
1 minute closing reflection. Absolutely.
All
Go
right.
for it.
Okay, perfect,
All
perfect.
right.
So I want to say thank you, and Mona will be leading the closing reflection.
All righty. So, guys, in a sentence, what does your generation need from the Black community to truly heal? And we'll start with you, Mimi. We'll just keep it in that order.
Absolutely. I think in one sentence, our community just needs to step up as peers. A lot of us have lived experience. We talk about this so much. We have our youth that have lived experience. We have our families that have lived experience. Whether you have experience in the systems or not, there is a pathway for you to stand up and be a peer in recovery for someone else. And I think too often, once we get ourselves out of the hole, we don't always turn back. We can gatekeep information. And so it's really important that we're going to stand up. We're going to become youth peer advocates, certified recovery specialists. We're going to become family peer advocates, our New York peer certifications, and we're going to stand with each other. Just because you got out of it does not mean another family does not need help. Make sure that information is disseminated to everyone. We all need to heal together.
Awesome. Zari?
Yeah. I personally think it's mainly towards it will help our generation, but it's mainly towards the older generations that we just need acceptance from that. Like we've all grown up in different times, and I just need them to know that times are changing, and it's okay to stick with what you know and what you grew up with, but just keeping an ear out to the streets, just knowing that times are going to change with or without you, with or without you, sorry, and just knowing that what you thought was weird about 20 years ago and it's now hip now, it's like times will continue to change, and we just need the acceptance to know that it's okay to be different. We will always grow as a society, and that's what we strive to do.
Love it. Love it. And Tenin, if you can
Yes.
close us out with your remark.
Of course. Thank you again. Peer support plays a tremendous role in healing because it replaces isolation with connection. And we could have normalization when it comes to young people hearing, I've been there too. It reduces self-blame, empowerment, seeing someone who have navigate similar challenges and is thriving creates hope. And skill building through conversation and sharing experience. You've learned coping strategy organically. And voice development, peer spaces encourage young people to speak up without fear and judgment. So having those key points will, foster something in the next generation and many more to come.
Thank you again to all of our panelists and to everyone. Today, we just didn't hear the youth. We witnessed leadership. As someone who works closely with youth and families across systems, I can say clearly when we truly center the youth voice, systems begin to shift. Healing together means adult listening without defensiveness. It means providers showing up with cultural humility. It means protecting our young people's softness, not just celebrating their strength. And to our youth panelists, your voice is not the future, it is the present. And to our community, the work is not applause, the work is action. And again, Angela, thank you for holding this space with me. And to Sarah, thank you for always believing in me to do something we've never done before. You always believe in us. And thank you again to all of our panelists and to everyone who showed up today.
Thank you. Thank you. You're getting a lot of virtual applauses. Thank you, Dennis. Thank you, ZRihanna. I'm going to get it wrong. And Mimi, I say thank you. We want to hire all of you. I just want you to know we want to hire all of you without any conflicts of interest. We want to hire all of you. Thank you so much for the authenticity in this space. This was your stage. This was your space to take control of, and we yielded it to you. And we say thank you for being in this space. Dennis, Isaiah, all of our leaders, as Mona Lisa said, Angela, Mona Lisa, me, everyone in this space. We need to hear from you more. We need to. We need you in Albany. We need you across the nation. We need you to stand with us. So, again, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I can't say it enough. Hopefully, we'll take some of the questions and answers and put them on our website. Again, this was educational. We're going to ask everyone to give us feedback. We have an evaluation. We don't just put on the program for just to put it on. We want this to be a learning opportunity. And I don't know about you, but I learned a lot from the youth. If it was nothing more for me to continue to move out of the way, to leverage my power and privilege to put the youth forward, that's what I learned today, to continue in this space and just move out of their way. Again, thank you. You got Mimi's information from Families Together and our panelists. You can drop down to hit everyone to share that with everyone. You should be able to hit a drop down that says share with everyone. If not, our tech team will get it in there. So again, thank you. Complete the evaluations. And remember, we cannot be performative with youth voices and experiences. We need to hire them as leaders, not just put them on advisory boards for the gift cards, okay? Not just put them on advisory boards and take all that information and write these grants and programs and you don't have them leading them. We need to move out of the way and let the youth lead. They're capable of leading. So again, thank you, thank you, thank you so much for being in this space. I look forward. This will be on our Facebook page. This will be on our Facebook page. And if you can see that our tech team put our Facebook page, please, we need you. A couple announcements that the tech is going to bring up, and I'm going to bring one up too. Rochester and Buffalo, we need you this week. We are going to talk about Black men and men of color and the intersectionality of mental health and child support and employment. If you are in Rochester, on Thursday evening, this is free with dinner and a keynote. Every father, man that walks through that door is going to get a signed copy of the book from Michael Logan, the African American Male's Child Support Survival Guide. We're going to talk about men and mental health. We're going to move out of the way again to make space for men. If you are in Buffalo, Saturday, we're having a brunch. We're going to hear from the youth. We're going to have a youth focus group in Buffalo, along with the program for the men. We are going to hear from some youth leaders in Buffalo. This is a brunch. This is free, open to the community. They must register. It's on our website. If our tech team can put our website on in the chat, we need you. We have some other announcements that the slides will come up. We have a youth and parent focus group this week, and we have an upward mobility free online symposium open to all. Economic and upward mobility. We need you in that space. If you know youth in Erie, Livingston, Monroe, Chautauqua, Cattaraugus, Ontario, and Wayne County, we need them in these focus groups on Wednesday from 4:30 to 5:30, okay? We have the parent focus group slide coming up. We want to have parents and caregivers on Tuesday from 6:30 to 8. Erie, Cattaraugus, Chautauqua, Monroe, Livingston, Wayne County. We need to hear from you. We need your input. We can't continue to do what we do without having your input and supporting your ideas as we continue with our learning cohorts. And our last slide is our economic and upward mobility summit that we have on Partners in Community Development. This is Tuesday. We're calling it Black Wealth Street, the journey toward economic and upward mobility. I said it, Black Wealth Street. If you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, aspiring entrepreneur, that you want to be in this space, if you're working, this is free. We have a franchise owner. You know that franchise, nothing but those bun cakes, nothing but that cakes. Tammy is going to be with us. She owns 5 franchises of that cake. She's going to talk to us about franchising. This is free. Share it. We're going to talk about navigating the minority business enterprise space, entrepreneurial space. Be in this space on Tuesday. Tell your job this is professional development and that you want to be in this space. And you can find out more information at thepicd.org for our Women of Color Summit and this summit symposium, lunch symposium on Tuesday. Thank you for being with us. Visit our website. We have a lot going on. We have a regional peer conference in Albany, May 19th and 20th. The calls for workshops will be released soon. So please, there's a lot of information on our website at bipopparentvoice.org regarding our economic and upward mobility work, thepicd.org. Find out more information. But thank you for being with us. Please, if you need help, call 988, phone or text, or other community resources. We also have culturally responsive counseling that we refer to in Rochester and Buffalo and other areas. There is no reason for adults or youth to suffer in silence. We don't want anyone suffering in silence. Help is here. Culturally centered help is right here. So again, thank you for joining us for our last virtual series this year as it relates to mental health in the Black community. We look forward to seeing you in person in Rochester or Buffalo. Please share. These are free learning opportunities. We're going to give them a book and a manual on navigating child support and dealing with the stress in mental health. We all know that we heard about a tragedy in our region that had some correlation with child support. We want to have these conversations to help our men that may be struggling. Have a wonderful, wonderful day, and thank you for joining us.